The following game has been rated T for teen by the ESRB for violence and language. That means anyone under the age of 13 should not be watching this video. You have been warned.
Greetings and salutations, I am Outlier and I bid you welcome to this channel. Joining me today is of course my usual co-hosts, Snowball and Wolf. And today we are returning back to Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries. So the premise of Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries is that you take on the role of a mercenary commander whose mercenary company pilots multi-ton, multi-story, usually bipedal engines of destruction known as battlemechs. And the setting of the game is in the far-flung future, where humanity has colonized the stars, settled countless worlds, and created what's known as the Inner Sphere. Yes, it's known as the Periphery, but we don't talk about them. So as usual with the case of humanity separated into various factions, formed interstellar governments, and, in the name of peace and prosperity, ruthlessly and violently expanded against their neighbors using any and all military means at their disposal. And then as a means of promoting peace and non-combat-based prosperity, one faction managed to get all the other factions aligned with itself in an organization known as the Star League. Think of it as kind of like the UN, but with better guns. And then peace and prosperity reigned for a couple centuries before it all came crashing down because the ruler of the Star League, and yes, everything in the Mechwarrior universe, as far as I know, is based off of a feudal society. But anyway, the ruler of the Star League trusted the wrong man, and he paid the ultimate price for it. Civil war broke out, people forgot their promises not to use atomic weapons on everything, and eventually they managed to blow themselves not quite back to the Stone Age, but it wasn't due to lack of trying. Now this has all been in the far-flung past, it's been centuries since that, but humanity hasn't quite managed to get past the technological hurdle that they dug themselves in by blowing everything up. And while, as I said, you pilot a multi-ton, multi-story, usually bipedal engine of destruction known as a battlemech, battlemechs aren't exactly a dime a dozen. Well, for the larger ones, yeah, that's true. That's not true. The largest ones are usually 10 million per, but I digress. But because of the technological degradation, or regression, I guess is the better term, battlemechs aren't exactly everywhere. And it's usually a case that the battlemechs you pilot are probably older than the pilot is, if not by several generations and by several centuries. And it's not uncommon to find hidden away in forgotten caches of what's known as lost tech, or Starleague era advanced technology, which far surpasses anything that's currently being produced. And basically, everybody wants it. There isn't enough to go around. And once again, everybody wants everything. And the means of claiming their stake on everything is to use bipedal engines of destruction that are multi-ton and multi-story. Yes, I know I changed things. To prove a point, but in the end, they usually end up breaking the very thing that they're fighting over. And such is the case with Endless War, and that's where you find yourself. And for those who haven't seen the prior episode, it's been a while since I've actually made it. But anyway, if you've seen the prior episode, we learned the basics of how to pilot a battlemech in the Mechwarrior 5 universe. Had some complaints about it. And then after the tutorial, we witnessed our character's father, who originally was the owner of our mercenary company, get killed in a pitched battle, which we may or may not have caused by accident. But that's a moot point, and we are trying to get off, and memory serves, we actually did, because I managed to take out a bunch of bandits and gather enough supplies and resources and funding to get off the rock. But if memory serves, I haven't actually gone to any other planet, or if I haven't actually done anything past that. And that's where I've left it, still in the very beginning of the story. And that's the personal account that I don't use for filming. I do like this game. I periodically play a lot of it when I'm not filming. That's why I have two files. But anyway, the personal file isn't what we're going to be watching, so I'm going to be picking up right where I left it off after last episode, and as such, this game is of course made by... Thank you again. And that being said, let us begin.
Alright, so here we are at Brookland. So this is the second planet in the main storyline. The year is 3015. It's currently August 8th, 3015. And on June 4th, 3015, Coventry Metalworks unveiled a new battlemech, well, a new variant of the Commando battlemech, I should point out. As I said, pretty much every battlemech and every piece of equipment is usually several decades, if not centuries old, and while periodically they'll come out with a new variant of existing technology or figure out how old lost tech works and be able to reproduce it in modern days. Most of the shiny good toys are for what's known as the house militaries, or great houses, or the factions that basically control the various chunks of the inner sphere. And being a rank 2 mercenary company, you don't get access to any of the good toys. And in fact, the only way you're going to find any of the good toys is if you pick them up off the battlefield right after you break them in half. Or you go to the local second-hand weapons and battlemech dealer and purchase them after somebody else had broke them in half. Either way, there's a lot of breaking in half, and you don't get the shiny new tech straight off the factory line. It's part of the fun. So anyway, I can't exactly access the star map or the mech market equipment or the barracks or operations, mostly because I'm not on a planet where there's an equipment seller or a mech market or pilots to hire, and I can't access the star map or the operations because this is part of the storyline. So the only thing I can do right now is just take contracts, and Last Man Standing is the next and technically only mission I have available. So I forget his first name, but Spears, the guy that got us off Danbury or D-Berry, or the planet that we were originally on that the hostile faction was hunting and trying to kill us, got us to here, where he wants us to hold off enemy forces and secure a old lost tech Starleague era site until additional reinforcements can arrive. So This is the only mission that I have, so this is the only mission I'm going to do. I only have access to 3 negotiation points because I'm so low rank. I only get 2, but because the independent faction recognizes me as worthwhile, they give me an extra negotiation point. So right now, I would say I'm going to put all that into salvage shares, but I can only put 2 points into salvage shares. So the last one's going to damage coverage, which is kind of an insurance payment. So my mech can be broken, or battlemechs I should say, can be broken up to, well, can get damage up to 400,000 sea bills, which is the standard currency for this universe, worth of damage, and then that would get paid back to me, which I then use for repairs. But if I get, I'll say 500,000 sea bills worth of damage or more, they're only going to pay 400,000. I mean, I can pull 1 point off of salvage shares and get a maximum of 800,000, but I like maxing out salvage shares because outside of buying stuff from the second-hand dealerships, as I said, salvage is the primary way of getting new battlemechs and or weapon systems or even ammo or extra equipment. I could also put into sea bills, which basically increases the payout of the map, but as I said, I like getting salvage shares, and I could, and if it was possible, it's not really because A, it's early, and B, it's storyline, but I could also use the negotiation points to get airstrikes support, but this is a defensive mission, and calling in aircraft that drop fire from the sky on something I'm trying to keep intact is probably a bad idea. So we'll just go with what I have. And since I don't actually have any other pilots, I can't select any other pilots. I mean, I can technically select a different mech, but the deployed tonnage is only 50 metric tons, and that's the weight of the Centurion. So even if I had an extra pilot, I can't actually send them out on the Javelin. So just remove that, and since it's just me, we go. Alright, so this is our dropship, known as a Leopard. That's not the dropship's name, that's its class. So every dropship of this make and design is known as a Leopard.
Here we go, Commander. Let's see what we've gotten ourselves into. I'm picking up one friendly, just ahead of your current position. Unidentified enemy units engaging.
Copy that. Mayday! Mayday! My blackjack has suffered critical damage, and I am under assault by raider forces. Please, I need backup!
Don't worry, I'll drive these raiders back. Keep out of sight and hunker down.
I'm guessing that's him.
Target acquired.
You good?
Target destroyed. Target acquired. Target destroyed.
Stand still so I can shoot you.
Target destroyed. Target acquired.
Good work. Proceed to the dig site. Looks like the hostiles have launched another attack wave.
Huh.
Roger that. On the move.
Could have sworn that blackjack pilot dies. He still may. There's quite a bit of mission left to do, and my mech is more damaged than I would have liked. Still, it's only the left torso and the left arm. There's no weapons on the left arm.
Another friendly under attack, Commander. Straight ahead.
Target.
You made it. Thank God. Pick a target and have at them. I could use the help.
I think that was out of range. This one isn't. As I was saying, most of the weapon systems on this mech are on the center torso or right arm. The missiles are on the left torso, which is right now the heaviest hit area. but if I had to choose a weapon system to lose, it'd be the missiles.
Target destroyed. Target acquired. Target destroyed.
I'm out of range for the lasers, aren't I?
Target destroyed. Target acquired.
Or not.
Target destroyed. Target destroyed.
Okay, where'd that tank go?
Target
There you are.
acquired. Target destroyed. Target acquired.
No, I really dislike it when it gets a missile lock and then the target disappears. It's very annoying.
Target destroyed. Target
Come on.
acquired.
Where are you? There you are.
Target destroyed. Target acquired.
It's
Target
a hell of a lot easier clearing these bastards out with some help, Commander. Spear send you?
Yes.
Yeah, said you guys needed some reinforcements.
That's an understatement. My entire lance was wiped out. They came down on us like a ton of bricks, out of nowhere. Wave after wave. Been holding them off as best I can, but I don't think I could have held out much longer.
Well, we're here now, and we've got your back.
Yeah, us and the
I
blackjack guy.
appreciate that. Seriously. Can't tell you how good it is to see some friendly faces.
We still need to protect this site.
Copy that, but they'll be coming back soon enough. Like I said, they attack in waves, and they haven't shown any signs of letting up.
I saw some defensive turrets. Those should help.
Yeah, I set them up when they started digging. There's a turret generator close by, up on the hill. It cycled off after the third or fourth wave hit us. It's still off at the moment. You want to try cycling it back on? I'll watch your six.
Okay.
Sure thing.
Where is it though?
Hostile contacts.
Oh, there it is.
Looks like a mix of airborne and enemy armor, Commander.
Alright, so since I'm technically the heaviest thing currently on the field, I gotta get to this thing, turn on the generator, and then go help out. We'll just walk off the cliff right here. On the plus side, helicopters are on the way, technically.
Target destroyed. Target destroyed.
Stop, where's the generator? Here we are.
Turrets are now online and active,
Got all the
Commander.
power on. And let's get moving.
Target destroyed. Target destroyed. Target acquired. Target destroyed. Target destroyed.
Oh, that's a lot of tanks. Let's try not to step on the very thing we're trying to protect. I hate it when that happens. Hate it when that happens with a passion that belies the ferocity.
Target acquired.
That's not what I want. I wish more missiles doing that.
Target acquired.
Now maintain lock until the missiles kill you. Or you know what that
Target
does.
destroyed. Target destroyed. Target acquired. Target destroyed.
That works. Alright, now I know that there were more tanks over this way. Unless the black... Sorry.
Push him back!
See, unless the blackjack guy blew him up.
Nice shooting. There's a repair bay we can use. First, you need to cycle on the second turret generator.
Okay.
Okay, I'm on it.
Multiple hostiles converging on your location, Commander. I'm picking up 10, 12 bogies this time.
Oh good, they brought an entire
I
company.
told you, these guys never quit.
And the second generator's over there. Right in
Stay on him.
Acquired.
between us and... I mean, they are over a click away, so... Now, not so much. Missile away. And half of that missed. Okay. And that missed too. And I was going to say that missed, but target did actually lock. Fire those off.
Target destroyed.
Get to the turret generator.
Keep up the pressure.
Target acquired. Target acquired.
Dang it.
Target destroyed. Target
I
acquired.
will avenge my lance mate.
Cool.
Target destroyed. Target acquired. Target destroyed.
Alright. I'm taking quite a few hits to the left torso, as much as I said that the left torso is probably the less dependent torso. No, not less dependent. It's the torso I'm willing to lose of the two torsos. I still don't want to lose it. Left arm I'm fine with, because again, no weapons there. It's what I like to call the vestigial limb. Mostly because it's
Let's take these bastards
for
down.
mostly melee combat, and there's no melee combat in the game. So, moot point. Still, don't want to lose it. Not if I can't help it. Mostly because I have to pay to fix it.
Target destroyed.
By fix it, I mean
Target acquired.
pay the mechanic to basically
Target destroyed.
weld it back on.
Damn, I could have saved him.
Shake it off, Commander. The dig site still needs defending.
I guess there goes the blackjack pilot. Hey, we're actually at full armor.
I swear, these Star League ruins bring nothing but trouble.
Target destroyed.
Part of me does wonder if the blackjack pilot can be saved. I don't think he can. Oh, look, more aircraft. So is there something between me and him?
Target acquired. Target destroyed.
Alright, there are helicopters here.
For all we know, we're all just fighting over some random forgotten city collapsed hundreds of years ago in the early succession wars.
Destroyed.
Probably. But even civilian notepads back in the day are far superior than
Target
anything
destroyed.
nowadays can be built.
Target destroyed. Target destroyed.
I was gonna say, are we good? But then two.
Even in the unlikely event that they do find a data core, I'll put C-bills down that it's either destroyed, corrupted, or heavily encrypted.
Target destroyed. Target acquired.
Yeah, but heavily encrypted can be de-encrypted. Destroyed can be rebuilt.
Enemy dropship approaching, Commander.
And they took
Looks like they're bringing in the heavy
quite the hit
guns.
to the cockpit.
Circumventively claim to this site. It's ours. There's no shame in admitting defeat, my friend. Leave now, and we'll spare your lives. You've been warned. Fight us and die.
Son of a bitch! They're fielding 2 medium mechs.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Let's go get them.
That's okay. I'm in a medium mech and whatever you're piloting. For full disclosure, it's a Jenner. I know.
New target.
Alright, so we got a Griffin and an Assassin. So Griffin's got an LRM-10 and a PPC, all both on the left-hand side. I know this because of experience. So if I shoot the entire left side of the mech off, he should eject because he no longer has weapons. Problem is hitting the left-hand side. And I'm within range for lasers, missiles, not anymore, because he's faster than I do. Well, for people who want the site, they're certainly doing their best to level everything. That's not good. I mean, if I can take the arm off, I'll be fine. Because that's where his PPC is. So now, as long as I stay close to him, I don't have to worry about his missiles. Well, I should technically consider the whole trying to salvage the battlemech. At 9 salvagers, I'm not taking any battlemechs home with me. Alright, and he's gone. So all that's left is the assassin,
New target. Assassin.
of which the other pilot has basically beat the living snot out of him. Which is actually kind of impressive. Get back here so I can shoot you. That guy stepped on something important.
That's the last of them, Commander. Hell of a job. Spears will be impressed, as he should be. A new Merc outfit is already on its way to secure the site. Hang tight for now. I'm coming to pick you up.
Copy that.
Hey, Commander. Just wanted to say thanks for the rescue. Things were getting pretty grim before you showed up.
You're welcome.
I lost some good friends today. Good pilots. I don't think I could have held out much longer myself if you hadn't dropped in. I appreciate it.
I'm glad we were able to help. Just wish we'd gotten here sooner.
Me too.
You know, we could always use another pilot. One with your skills, he'd come in awful handy. What do you think?
After today, hell, it'd be an honor to serve with you, Commander.
Then consider it done. Welcome aboard.
I mean, Freeman was able to hold his own against a heavier mech. Not every pilot can punch above their weight class. Of course, it might be scripted that. Much like how I'm fairly certain the blackjack pilot's supposed to die. Still, I think there's at least a third of the base that was still intact when we were done. So there's supposed to be a mech here. Alright, and we have reached rank 3. We are now unfamiliar. Our reputation across the Unisphere is growing. Potential employers inquiring about your services and new employment opportunities have become available on the star map. I should point out that that's the Javelin, the mech we didn't take. So as base payout, we get 240,000 C-bills, 50 reputation, and Freeman's Jenner. Because it's a storyline pilot, and unlike most other pilots, he comes with his own mech. And this is a salvage screen, so anything that was deemed salvageable or could be reused, gets here. And the salvage shares that I picked up before are what I used to purchase this stuff. So if I want, say, all 5 of these AC5s, that would be 8 out of the 9 salvage shares because each AC5 is 2 salvage shares. By contrast, if I want, say, these 3 medium lasers, that's only 3 salvage shares because they're 1 salvage share apiece. Now, however, I can't get the 4 AC5s and 3 medium lasers, because that will be 11 salvage shares, and I only have 9 to play with, so... I mean, I don't really use... It's mostly SRM-2s and machine guns, and I don't really use machine guns or short-range missiles because they're unguided. So I generally stick with the autocannons, burst fire if I have available, but these aren't burst fire variants. LRM-10s, well, long-range missiles, although I prefer the stream kinds, but these aren't them either. There's also a Class 4 jump jet that I could pick up, even though I have no mech that can mount a Class 4 jump jet, and the medium lasers. So, medium lasers are technically the bread and butter of my offensive capabilities, so I'm definitely taking those. And I'll take 3 of the AC5s, just simply because outside of lasers, autocannon seems to be the primary damage dealer. That's not really true. The autocannons generally do more damage than the medium lasers, but next to the medium lasers, the AC5 or AC2 is the next go-to important weapon. So this will be my 9 salvage shares, and the dig site defended was 200,000 C-bills, and I took 40,000 C-bills worth of damage, so that's still within the insurance coverage. So I continue. And I had a total kills of 42, 19 of which were air units, 0 turrets because it was a defensive mission and they don't have mobile turrets. Also took out 22 vehicles and 1 mech. I don't think it counts the Griffin because he ejected, but I'm fine with that. I took 119 points of damage but dealt 658, and most of my skills go up to 2 or 3 except for missiles, which is almost at level 2. And that's the damage schematic in the lower left-hand corner. Let us continue. Alright, so Major Rihanna Campbell, our intel officer, states, "That was some fight, Commander, and I see you also managed to pick us up a new pilot. Nice work. Having another pilot aboard will certainly help our cause. He's a bit worse for wear at the moment, but that's not surprising, especially considering what he's been through. Don't worry, though, I'll make sure he gets settled in. As for the dig site, it's been secured, and the newly arrived reinforcements should ensure its continued protection. When you've had a chance to clean up, come see me on the bridge. We need to talk about the future." And I get an extra 50,000 C-bills and Lieutenant Leon Freeman. And the lance grows to 2. Alright, so to go to the bridge. For some reason, the javelin's still in the first spot. Usually whatever the last mech I pilot ends up here. And that's the broken Centurion. That's the Jenner. That's Freeman's battlemech. But I need to go speak with Rihanna, and she's on the bridge up here, even though it's basically just one large room separated by the occasional glass partition.
Hi, Commander.
What's up?
Excellent work protecting that dig site. Spears thinks you did a hell of a job. A chip off the old block were his exact words, referring to your father, of course. That's quite the compliment coming from him. As you know, your father and Spears did a lot of work together over the years. Proved quite lucrative too, for both of them. Hopefully, we can continue that relationship.
Let's hope so.
But we need more than one client if we're going to survive out here. That's what I wanted to talk with you about. Our next move. We're operating with a clean slate now, thanks to the new mercenary ID number Spears provided. A whole new name, new outfit. Now we need to get to work rebuilding our capabilities and establishing our reputation. Won't be easy, but nothing worth doing ever is. You up for it?
What do you think?
I think we better get started then. Plenty of war zones in the inner sphere where we can pick up work. A few safe harbors as well. Places we can hire more pilots, get our hands on cheap supplies. First, we need to earn some C-bills to pay for it all. Other than that, I see a bright future ahead of us, Commander.
Me too.
Speaking of the future, we have a pending transmission from IE already. Seems Spears has put the word out to his colleagues that we can be trusted to get the job done. Before diving right in, I recommend we head to one of the industrial hubs in this region. Pockets of relative stability where we can acquire new equipment and mechs, hire new pilots. We have more mechs than Mechwarriors at the moment, so it would be good to expand the ranks. Repairs are cheaper in these regions too. Either way, I've marked the location of the IE contract on the star map. It's there whenever you're ready.
Roger that. Thanks, Rihanna.
You're welcome, Commander.
Okay. So I need to take a contract and expand the company. I think I gotta get to the next mercenary rank. So for view transmissions, that just talks about co-op, but I play by myself, so yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's just talking about co-op, as I said. So we have Markston's Marauder, who's an old friend, Colonel Richard Markston. Hey kid, I heard about your old man biting the big one. Tough break. He was one of the good ones. Rihanna reached out and said you were stepping up and taking over for old Nikolai. Nikolai's the father. Good on you. I wish you all the best. Anyways, I wanted to reach out and chat. Kid, old Nick knew better than most that the Innisphere can be a harsh place for a small merc outfits. There's also a lot of need for our services outside what those Comstar stooges over at the Mercenary Review Board will put into one of their contracts. Not everyone can afford to charter a certified MRB backed contract, and not every merc outfit is flashing around a regiment's worth of battlemechs like they're the next Wolf's Dragoons. There's a lot of need out there on all sides, but if you're savvy enough to know where to look, you can find additional work if you want to take it on. Thing is, these places don't just let anyone in. You need to have some rep for yourself built up to show that you can get the job done. With you and Rihanna starting over, any rep that Nick's Cavaliers might have had is now gone. I can help you get yourself back into that loop, but you need to prove to the powers that be that your new outfit still has what it takes to get the job done, even with old Nick no longer around. If you can prove that you still have what it takes without your old man around, I'll be sure to open those doors back up for you. At least that's what I can do for old Nick. I'll be rooting for you, kid. Best of luck. So I have to reach Merc rep level 4, which I think is 1 level away. Alright, and then Interstellar Expeditions wants me to perform some armed robbery. So, local systems are in shambles, many merc outfits are packing up and running, while others are looking to ransack vacant merc bases. With only a few battlemechs to your name, it seems you'll be in need of some more hardware and supplies if you want to stay in the game. Clients need supplies too, and if you get your hands on some, I'll give you a healthy cut of the resale value. That should help get you back on your feet after all. After everything that we've gone through around here. If your game have got intel on a system where an independent company from Harlock's Warriors is trying to get out of the system for good. Not afraid to shoot out other mechs, you should be able to chase them off and acquire some of their supplies. Surefire way to chase them off with minimal fuss is to shoot down the mech of Anders Willman, the head of security, and then the rest of the outfit should scatter. Willman's not well liked, to say the least, so you'll essentially be doing the Warriors a favor. And with the occupants on the way out anyway, they shouldn't put up much of a fight to protect someone they'd rather be rid of. Chasing off the Warriors, I'll send in my crews and pay you for anything that's on my list of necessities. Anything else you find will be yours for the taking. Attack the mercenary base and steal supplies. And they do say that there is no honor among thieves, and mercenaries are, well, I mean, mercenaries are technically soldiers for hire. Let's be honest about that. Anyway, so I now have access to the star map, and this just explains about the star map. All fun stuff. So this is where I'm at, this is where I was, this is the next mission in question. And this is what's known as an industrial hub, so if you ever want to go to a place that has the best of the second or third hand equipment, you go to industrial hub. The little icon over Broadus means that they have a mech for sale. It's usually fully repaired as opposed to the half-broken stuff that they normally sell. And I want to say it's cheaper, but I don't think, not always. At the very least, it's fully equipped and literally just walk off the sales floor into battlefield ready. Alright, so I do need to repair the Centurion. And I have 3 mechs and 2 pilots for them, which is generally not usually what happens. Usually I have, well, to be fair, usually I do have more mechs than pilots. Because, at least in my personal playthrough, I only have like 11 pilots and probably close to over 100, well, definitely over 100 mechs. I think it's close to like 120. but don't hold me to that number. I haven't exactly taken a head count. A lot of the mechs that I salvage, I don't bother to sell. You never know when you need a light mech and your entire company of battlemechs is all assaults. So anyway, if we look at the loadout, I took quite a few hits, especially a heavy hit to the head. And this is the Centurion. This is essentially the guts of the Centurion. It's got an AC-10, 2 tons of AC ammo, 2 medium lasers, 2 things of LRM ammo, I should say, a single heatsink, technically 2 single heatsinks. It's just the size of the heatsink. It's not only one heatsink. And then there's the LRM-10 stream that I have. All of them tier 1 quality, which is what the little dashed lines denote. So basically, the higher the tier, the more damage it does, the longer the range, the faster the reload, all that fun stuff. Basically, it's minor, very little minor bits, but still they're there. Now I can repair the Centurion if I want to spend 48,006 days to do so. Now, technically, traveling to the nearest industrial hub will take 13 days and 50,000 civils. So I could technically, even though I would, the work order to repair the Centurion cost 20% more and take 30% longer because I'm in the middle of a conflict zone and repair personnel and supplies and parts are at a premium here, it would technically be cheaper just to repair the battlemech here than as opposed to going to a industrial hub to fix it there. Because then I'll be spending 50,000 C-bills and just shy of 2 weeks to get there, spend 40,000 C-bills and an extra 4 days to actually repair the Centurion, and then traveling probably another almost 2 weeks and 50,000 C-bills to get wherever I want to go. But I do need another pilot, and they don't sell pilots here, so yes, I don't think that they do. I mean, there is a small amount of equipment for sale here, just random basic stuff that just happens to be lying around. There actually is one locus. There was one locus actually for sale here as well. And I say was because it's a cockpit and 1 torso. And that's it. But I can buy the broken, disheveled shell of what used to be a battlemech for 1.3 million C-bills. And because I'm recognized by House Davion, because I've been in their space and they kind of like me, and get 5% off all purchases. So that 1.3 plus million C-bills is actually at a discount. So anyway, hiring pilots. Pilots just explains the pilots and hiring and all that fun stuff. But there are no pilots for hire here because we're not where the pilots are hireable. And this is just basically extra upgrades that I can have to the mech, which provide various little buffs and whatnot. I don't have any unlocked because I need to perform multiple side quests to rank up each category, which unlocks the upgrades. More on that stuff if and when I ever get around to finding Cantina. And this is the stats. So I'm currently at rank 3. The most recent entries in the database are the Jenner twice and a Blackjack. It's also a breakdown of all the various costs and of the company and the net worth and balance sheet and all that stuff, as well as my relations with all the various factions of the Inner Sphere. These aren't all the various factions of the Inner Sphere, just the major ones. As I unlock new subsidiaries and background and tertiary groups, they'll get added to the list. Like for instance, the Outworld Alliance is a subsidy of the Periphery Realms, which actually isn't even on this list. But Interstellar Expeditions is a subsidiary of, or subsidiary, if I pronounce the word correctly, of the Independents. So that means if you're a subsidiary of another faction, that you borrow that faction's relationship with your company. So for instance, if I was extremely hostile over and over again against the Independents and waged on countless battles against them, and their bar ticked incredibly hostile, Interstellar Expeditions would also be incredibly hostile because, as I said, they are a subsidiary of the Independents, so their relationship reflects the Independents' relationship. One of the main reasons why I try to keep the independence up high, because interstellar expeditions is crucial to the main storyline. The Outlaws, not so much. Of course, I'm also at negative reputation with House Karita and Liao, for reasons I'm not fully understand, as well as recognized by one point for the House Steiner, but indifferent to House Merrick, and the Mercenaries. Say, as far as I know, I've only ever done jobs for the independent groups, so that makes little to no sense, but okay. Alright, so anyway, let's travel to Broaddus. Just simply because I can pick up a new pilot for the Javelin, and I can see what the mech for sale is. Oh, it's a Panther. Okay, cool. Alright, so let's fix the Centurion. Alright, and that'll get fixed in 4 days, I think it said? Yeah, 4 days if I look at the work orders. And there's also mech cold storage, so if I have any mechs that I don't want, well, that I don't feel like using right now, but I want to keep for a rainy day, that's what cold storage is for. I can have up to 12 active battlemechs, with up to 1 lance deploying at any time, and 1 lance is 4 battlemechs. And then any other mechs after that, or any mechs that again I don't want, or I mean, if I don't want, I'd sell them, but if I don't need at the moment, I shove them in cold storage, which gets thrown somewhere on the dropship. Not quite certain where cold storage is, but apparently it's infinite, and it can store an infinite amount of battlemechs, and they do have to take off all the weapons and armor first, but you know, they store them there. Anyway, if I look at equipment, they actually sell 1 AC5 burst fire, so I'm going to buy that. I'm also going to buy these 4 small lasers. And these LRM5s, for reasons I will get to shortly. And if I look at the battlemechs, this is the Panther that's for sale. It's a standard Panther, contains 1 PPC or particle ejection cannon, which is essentially a lightning gun. That thing that the Griffin was shooting at me, that wasn't missiles, last mission was a PPC. Also contains a short-range 4 missile launcher. The short-range 4 isn't a tier 4 missile launcher, it just fires 4 missiles per salvo. There's also a missile boat variant of the Javelin, so the Javelin that I have has 4 medium lasers, and this variant, instead of 4 medium lasers, has 2 SRM-6s. There's also a standard fire starter, I believe, or at least what passes for a standard fire starter, and then an urban mech, minus its small laser. Alright, so, I mean, I don't want to spend what little coin I have on these battlemechs, mostly because I can't actually afford the Panther or the fire starter. I don't really like having just solid missile boats. I actually, if something's going to have only 1 weapons platform, or 1 type of weapon on it, I prefer that weapon type to be lasers, because lasers don't use ammo, unless you're counting chem lasers, but I don't, because I never use them. Anyway, so these are the battlemechs, and as I said, I can't really afford any of them.
My combat skills are meant to impress, sir.
Alright, so these are the...
Affirmative, Commander. I'll be in the hangar for pre-drop checklists.
Alright, so as I was saying, these are the battlemech.
I hope your techs know their stuff. I'll be watching.
So, as I was saying before I keep getting interrupted, which if I would stop jumping from pilot to pilot, I wouldn't be. But these are the generic pilots that I can hire. There are 3 lieutenants and a captain. They don't the rank doesn't really upgrade, and it's not really, you know, an indicator of, you know, where they sit in the lance. I mean, I can hire Captain Hodge up here, and she would still rank below Lieutenant Freeman because I declare it as such. But what captains do have over lieutenants is that their skill capabilities. So, for instance,
My combat skills are meant to impress, sir.
Lieutenant Hodge here, well, Captain Hodge, I should say, can get a maximum level of 6 with ballistics, 5 with lasers, 4 with missiles, even though she's already maxed out at 4, Her evasion can max out at 6, heat capabilities max out at 4, and defensive skills, I should say, max out at 6, even though they're at 3. By contrast, Lieutenant Earl matches Captain Hodge in laser level, but is lower everywhere else, except heat management, which is only 1 point higher. And then Phillips is better at missiles,
I hope you takes notice.
once she actually gets up high enough. She's also a better ballistics gunner. But she basically just stands still as a semi-mobile turret, and although she's good at defense.
Ready for action. Nice dropship, but boring as hell.
And Lieutenant Aldridge is basically about the same. These are all the levels generally end up all randomized anyway.
I hope you...
Affirmative.
My combat skills are meant to impress, sir.
And each one has a generic style semi-randomized background. So, for instance, Hodge had always dreamed of a life beyond her rural Davion system, and had always pictured the life of a swashbuckling mechwarrior. Hodge is beginning to earn a reputation as an up-and-coming mechwarrior. Her ultimate loyalty is to her wallet, but she will nonetheless approach each job with a workmanlike attitude. Whereas Lieutenant Earl is a former grain farmer. He has raw talent, but hasn't seen enough combat to truly test out his skills in the cockpit. He knows that he probably won't survive long as a pilot. He just hopes he can earn enough money to send back to his family back home. And the other stories are just as random and not important. So, since Hodge has the highest maximum level of skills, even though she's close to maxing out all of them, we'll hire her.
I'll be in the hangar for pre-drop checklists.
No, you're not, because I only need one person. And because Hodge is new, she gets the javelin. And speaking of battlemechs, let's actually remove the work order, because I wish to change the loadout of the Centurion slightly, and I can't do that if they're busy fixing the thing. So that AC-5 burst fire gets put on here, which means I actually don't have any ammo for the AC-5. Alright, well, that's a slight oversight that I just was not paying attention to. Alright, so AC-5 burst fire, and then swap out the AC-10 ammo because it's a different caliber for the AC-5 ammo. And that gives me 4 extra spare tons to play with. So what I can do is max out the armor, which puts it at 48.43. So if I lower the armor slightly on the legs, put that at 41 and put the other leg at 41. I can get 48 tons and slightly heavier armor, so I shouldn't take nearly as many hits as I used to. In fact, what was the armor originally? 22, 32, 26, 12, 26, 12, 18, 36, and 14. So the arms are about as armored as they're going to get. But it increases the torso armor and head armor. And while I could keep the leg armor at maximum, legs are surprisingly well armored compared to, say, center torso, or the left and right torso. And it allows me to get 2 extra full tons, which means 2 extra tons of AC-5 ammo. At this stage in the game, I don't generally run out of LRM ammo, so, I mean, 2 tons is probably going to be more than enough. The AC-5 doesn't do as much damage as the AC-10, but it is a burst fire, which means more bullets per volley, and it has a faster rate of fire. So, and it's also lighter, which means more ammo. I mean, it's... Hang on. I mean, I get 80 rounds per ton of AC-5 ammo. If I manage to... Come on. Yeah, it's not telling me because I don't have... No, hang on. Start the work. Take 19 days to swap everything out, as well as fix the mech. If I go to equipment, I should look at equipment. As I said, it's 80 rounds per... Yeah, so a half ton of AC5 ammo is 40 rounds. So twice that for a full ton would be 80 rounds, and each ton of AC10 ammo is 40 rounds as well. So, as I said, the AC5 does a little bit less damage, but has a faster rate of fire, and since it's lighter, I can put on 2 extra tons of ammo, and since each ton of ammo gets me twice the ammo as an AC10, I technically have 4 times the amount of ammo that I used to. Now, as for the Jenner is completely fine, and it's actually a pretty decent weapons platform, but I don't like the SRM, which is why I bought the LRM, so I'm swapping that out, and it's also comparatively lightly armored. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to downgrade his lasers from mediums to smalls. I mean, he doesn't really complain, and then add in extra armor for him, so he should be a little bit more better at surviving than he used to be. Oh, almost forgot. Swap out the SRM ammo for LRM ammo. It's going to take 20 days and 42,000 Seabolts to do all of that. And the Jenner F10F is fine. 4 medium lasers, I'm fine with that. Anyway. So that's basically it for here. Now I can use the advance the timeline 20 days, and everything will be fixed and ready to go, or it'll take 20 days to get back to Pascagoula. Not back to Pascagoula, to Pascagoula. I've never been there before. So it'll take 100,000 Seabills, which I have, and I discovered a new location, and both the Centurion has been fixed and the Jenner has been modified. Alright, so here we are at Pascagoula, and if we look at the contract, it's technically from Interstellar Expeditions as well. So Merc Company has left its mech repair depot undermanned while they prepare to leave the system. There's minimal presence around the garage where valuable components or possible mech under repair might be found. Take out their head of security, and the remaining outfit is bound to withdraw, which give you the full run of the depot. And it's an assassination job, so basically it's show up, kill a specific mech, and then walk away. And I actually have 4 negotiation points to play with because I upgraded in rank. So again, put 2 in salvage shares, 1 in damage coverage, and because I have 1.4 million Seabills to my name, add in an extra 1 for Seabill payout. So I'll get paid 500,000 if I do this correctly, and I also have a tonnage limit of 145, which I think is every mech I have. No, not every mech I have. I'm actually 30 tons under. So if I had an extra 30 ton or under mech and a pilot to pilot it, I could put it in Bay 4. And then launch with 4 battlemechs instead of 3. But I don't, so let's go. And I just realized I didn't update the weapons groups for either the Jenner or the Centurion. Oops.
Okay, Commander. The only thing standing between us and this company's supplies is their leader, Anders Willman. Take him out, and we'll be able to get our salvage crews planetside. Willman's forces have mostly fled the area, but you should still expect some resistance.
I mean, the weapons group, the AC5 isn't the same weapons group as the AC10 used to be, so I should be fine there. Nothing you can do about Freeman's battlemech, and Hodge's battlemech is the same as it normally is by default, so I don't have to worry about that. Anyway, if I look at the map here, it looks like the target's in the center of the this depression-like area, crater thingy. So if I go down this ramp, it should be right where I need it to. right where I need to go.
Vehicle spotted.
Alright, and I just found an enemy.
Target acquired.
Wrong button.
Detecting unidentified mechs in the area. Moving in to investigate.
Target.
And Freeman blew it up.
Target acquired.
So anyway, what I did fire was the autocannon. Now first fire out a string of munitions. This is why I prefer them compared to...
Target acquired.
Oops, sorry. I'm always doing that. I'm shooting my friends in the back. Don't like doing that.
Target destroyed.
So anyway, there was
New target.
a target.
Another movement. I don't know what you're doing here, but we packed up and shipped out most of our goods. If you're looking to raid us, you're going to be sorely disappointed. But if you're looking to die, you have come
Incoming missile.
to the right place.
As I was going to say, in regards to the lance mates, since I have extra people on the field, I can't give them commands.
Engaging with Lance.
Like, I just told them to basically fire on the target. Right, and the other guy's an urban mech, I think. So there's essentially 3 ways to kill the mech. Take out the cockpit. This was all in the tutorial originally, but it's basically take out the cockpit where the pilot sits, the center torso where the atomic reactor sits, or the leg, preventing him from walking. So I just walked through the very thing I'm trying to salvage. Alright, he's dead.
And we'll be able to get ourselves some of his much-needed resources. And hey, the Inner Sphere is a better place without him.
You sure about that?
That bounty is ours. Farhad will break open a case of Timbiki Dork when you get back to the ship safely.
If we get back to the ship safely. Still dealing with an urban mech, and I'm out of forward center torso armor. Make his gun go away. Oh, it's the AC-20 variant. And he ejected.
Target down.
And there's another mech on the field.
New target flee.
We've got your target.
Yes, he
Commander.
is fleeing. And of course, the evac point is up a cliff, and I don't have jump yet, so yeah, there's that.
Target acquired. Target destroyed.
Alright, I'm gonna take care of these tanks, you guys fight the fleet.
Target destroyed. Target destroyed. Target acquired.
Alright, the vestigial arm has taken some hits to the left. Oh, I've taken so much damage to center torso, my lasers are gone.
The commander is down.
And I'm down.
Repeat, the commander is down. Begin recovery operations.
Alright, so that's what happens when, you go toe-to-toe with somebody with a bigger gun than you. Now, I'm fairly certain it just continues on, or at least the mission restarts, but I just manually auto-loaded the mission because I don't like losing. I'm a stickler like that. Of course, I'm also used to fighting in bigger, heavier battlemechs, so I'm used to being able to wail on my opponents and them wail on me, as I make excuses for my poor performance.
Okay, Commander. The only thing standing between us and this company's supplies is their leader, Anders Willman. Take him out, and we'll be able to get our salvage crews planetside. Willman's forces have mostly fled the area, but you should still expect some resistance.
Yeah, so much for, they'll cave when their boss is dead, because I killed the boss and they didn't cave. Anyway, so back we go.
Target acquired.
Ground armor spotted.
Target sent to hell.
Okay. I'm guessing Hodge is one of those quiet ones.
Target destroyed.
No, person of few words, that type of deal.
Target destroyed.
Another merc band. I don't know what you're
Target
doing
acquired.
here, but we picked up and shipped out most of our goods.
Target
If
destroyed.
you're looking to raid us, you're going to be sorely disappointed. But if you're looking to die, you have come to the right
Target
place.
acquired.
Focusing the shared target.
Okay, you guys take out the urban mech. I'll fight this guy. Yes, he's behind me. Come on. There we are. So to point out, he also has a AC5 burst fire, medium laser, LRM5, and an SRM2. And I already lost all the armor on the Pistol one. Armor everywhere else is looking good. You guys are supposed to be taking care of the urban mech. Why is he shooting at me still?
Add one more to my kill count.
And the autocannon is now gone. Alright, let's try this again. Not only is the autocannon the primary damage dealing weapon on the Centurion, it's also the only one I have.
If I didn't change out the autocannon, I would have been left with the AC-10, which means less ammo and less armor everywhere else. Not that it helped the first playthrough.
Okay, Commander. The only thing standing between us and this company's supplies is their leader, Anders Willman. Take him out, and we'll be able to get our salvage crews planetside. Willman's forces have mostly fled the area, but you should still expect some resistance. Walk on up to the treasure to pick it up.
This time there's random salvage. So random salvage is kind of weird. It's just random.
That's close enough. Ready to start pickup operation.
Building will have random things you can just basically
Brilliant.
salvage.
Payload acquired.
I try not to step on the building, but it nets me extra C-bills and occasionally, and usually a weapon system. Occasionally it's just C-bills. Like for instance, that one was 5,000 C-bills and an extra AC5 of the 0 tier. Like that's a thing. I mean, 0 tier AC5s are definitely a thing. But calling it an AC5 of the 0 tier makes it seem like more than it actually is. Anyway. Now I'm going to try this without getting into a slog fight that cripples the Centurion and /4. Straight out kills it. So what I'm going to do, at least my master plan, is to walk up, activate the battlemechs, and run away, because I think it's the urban mech that actually does the most damage with its AC-20.
Mobile units inside.
Which is, outside of railguns, one of the biggest guns available to a battlemech.
Target destroyed. Target acquired.
Also, the tanks probably didn't help.
Target destroyed. Target acquired. Target destroyed.
Alright, so the mechs are now active. So we're going to walk away.
Target destroyed.
As we kill the tanks.
Target acquired.
Target down.
Target destroyed.
Another merc band. I don't know what you're doing here, but we picked up and shipped out most
Alright, so now I ripped off the right side of the mech the last time, and it didn't take out the autocannon. So I'm thinking the autocannon's on the left-hand side. So that's the side I'm going to try to concentrate on. Hopefully before the urban mech shows up. Come on. Stop clipping the wall. Alright, his autocannon is now gone. So that should help things out. As Freeman jumps on top of him, which is technically a valid tactic, if mostly dangerous. And there goes the vestigial limb. And there he goes.
Willman is out of the picture, and we'll be able to get ourselves some of this much-needed resources. And hey, the inner sphere is a better place without him. Now let's pack it in before their friends arrive.
Alright, so let's try to drop the urban mech before he gets close enough to do any damage. Because the torso with the missiles on it no longer has any armor. So, aim for the gun. Aim for the gun. Aim for the gun. Gun's gone. And he's dead. Right, now for the tank. You're gone too. Alright, and this time the evac point. And this time the evac point's inside the crater, so I don't have to walk all the way around. So that flea that I think killed the Centurion the first time, I shouldn't have to worry about. I mean, even if he does show up, the leopard's right here. And the leopard is more heavily armed than any battlemech I can use.
Target acquired.
You. You.
Target destroyed.
And you. We enter the green circle of leaving. And we're gone. Alright, so even though I didn't have anything on that limb, it's probably going to increase the damage payout. Or the amount of damage that I have to repair. Replacing limbs is usually a expensive process. But anyway, I get, what was that, 664,343 C-Vols, 40 reputation points, and AC5, basically because of the salvage I picked up from somebody's, I want to call them yurts. Anyway, okay, so, and I didn't read this the last time, but there is a small little debriefing piece where the employer, Interstellar Expedition, states, sometimes war can feel a little too much like playing execution, but it's the hard choices that will save your command. You just have to walk a fine line between saving the command and going too far. Today, you walked that line just fine. Or the line just fine. And then the opponent, the Independents, also get a rebuttal. So Security Chief Woolman may have been a scoundril, but there's no need to kill him. Whatever your employer told you about him must have been to satisfy your qualms about conducting a raid here. You needed supplies, I'm sure we could have worked something out, mark to mark. Instead, you resort to petty larceny. Trust me, if you ever want to succeed in this life, you gotta know how to spot the line your employer is feeding you and then find your own truth. There's actually wisdom in that. Although on the plus side, because it's just two light mechs and a medium mech, total damage taken, even if the vestigial limb was blown clean off, was 143,960 C-Vols, so it's within the insurance coverage. So total payout, as I said, 664,343 C-Vols. And as for salvage, the Shadowhawk that the guy I took out is available for salvage for 17 salvage shares. So if I had enough salvage shares, I could take that, but I don't have enough salvage shares, so I can't. In fact, it's just a bunch of single heat sinks, some AC5s, a medium laser, a few small lasers, a flamer, and some AC-20 ammo because we ripped the urban mech in half. And all that's left was the ammo. Alright, so I'll take the AC-5s if for no other reason than because I could sell them, and the most expensive thing here. And the medium lasers, because I always need more medium lasers, and I'll take these 2 small lasers as well. Because the Jenner uses small lasers. Anyway, let us continue. Alright, and I go up to level 2 of missiles and 3 of evasion, as other skills max out as well. Lieutenant Freeman goes up in laser-based weaponry as well as evasion as well. And Hodge, well, increases her experience. I killed a total of 10 things, no air units or turrets, but 9 vehicles and 1 battlemech. And nobody else killed a battlemech, so I'm assuming that they took out both weapons on the urban mech and the pilot just ejected, so it's not flagged as a kill. I took the most damage, but I also dealt the most damage as well. Also, the Centurion needs more repairs than the other 2, but that's because the Javelin only took armor damage to 1 arm, the Jenner took armor damage to its legs and a few other places, and Centurion took, well, structural damage to the left side and lost the arm. Alright, so Spears said you took a risk, Commander, but it looks like it paid off in spades for both of us. Your salvage crew managed to dig up a pretty decent haul for me, including an operational mech chassis. None of my clients are in the market for scout mechs, so consider it part of your payment. It'll probably do your unit more good than me. So we get a Locust. That's kind of neat. As well as 2 medium lasers. And 78,125 C-bills. And 70 reputation. Alright, so that's not enough to get to tier 4, well, rank number 4, so I don't actually have any more story, so I have to keep taking contracts to expand the company. Unfortunately, there are no other jobs at this plant, so I gotta go elsewhere, and I also need to repair the battlemechs because it's broken, except for the Locust because it's new. And staying in a conflict zone causes stuff to, well, be at an increased cost. So let's actually head back to this industrial hub's 34 days away. Let's head back to Broados. Just simply because I now have a 4th mech, which means I need a 4th pilot. Panther's still for sale though, although I don't have much more money than I did. And all of it is going to repair the battlemechs. Wait, what was that? Huh, one of the medium lasers actually took a hit. Okay then. And believe it or not, there are no more pilots to hire here. So if I want somebody for the Locust, I'm going to have to travel elsewhere. It's kind of annoying, actually. Oh well. One button too many. But if I go to Dibble, I mean the Jenner and Centurion are already fixed. You can basically spend money to travel in the wrong direction. They have some equipment for sale. Most notably a 3-tier AC-20, which none of my battlemechs can actually fit. A couple more AC-5 burst fires, so let me just buy those just simply because I have spares now, in case the one I have breaks. A 3-tier larger laser, which again none of my mechs can mount. And a Mask Mark IV, which is a Mechwarrior accelerator signal circuitry, a device used to enhance the output of the Mechwarrior musculature that propels a battlemech's legs, resulting in short bursts of increased mobility and ground speed. Overuse risks structural damage in the legs, compatible with motive upgrade for hardpoints and 70 to 85 ton battlemechs. I don't have a 70 to 85 ton battlemech, so that's kind of a moot point. And even if I did have that kind of mech, I would need a mech that has a spectral slot for it, and I have yet to find one in either this file or my personal file, so I'm not getting that either. As for the mech market, they have a Locust 1V for sale, as well as a Spider.
You're ready to stop wasting my time?
Okay, so there are pilots to purchase here. So Lieutenant Lord here is somewhat decent in terms of weapons, and his piloting skills are mostly decent. His evasion's kind of, well, stinky.
Prepped and ready,
Lieutenant Kohler here has very high maximum skills for weaponry, but piloting is something to be desired. I'm guessing he considers himself a berserker, and the fact that he has almost no defense specialties and sits around and takes hits because he doesn't evade either. But he can be quite deadly with his guns.
Affirmative, Commander. I'll be in the hangar for pre-drop checklists.
Lieutenant Hudson isn't much better.
I know your story, and I'm ready to be of assistance, Commander.
I mean, in terms of piloting skills, BB is, well, has the highest evasion out of all 4 options. Not as high heat management. In fact, hers is the second lowest, but she also has the second highest piloting. And if it comes down between the 3, I'll take defense and evasion over heat management. In terms of weapon skills, she actually is tied for the highest missile capability maximum, second highest energy-based maximum, and second highest, technically third highest, because there's the other 2 pilots are tied for ballistics. But overall, I think she actually has the highest capabilities. I mean, if I add up all the numbers, I'm sure somebody else will actually be higher. In fact, you see them right there. Kohler has a maximum skill rating of 29, whereas Lord has 23 and Hudson has 25. But keep in mind, that isn't a maximum skill set for each skill. You basically add everything up, and that's the total. And it doesn't work that the more skills you put into evasion, the better your laser marksmanship is. So I have to take each skill independently, and I think Lieutenant BB, who was practically raised on the Davion front line, and as such, is more or less expected to become a Mechwarrior. She has seen very little time in a combat sim, even less on an actual battlefield. Every year, thousands of pilots try to make it big in the Unisphere. Every year, thousands fail. BB is likely one of the failures. I mean, she's not dead yet. No guarantee that that won't happen, but like I said, of the 4 possible candidates, she's the best well-rounded, so that's the one I'm taking.
Affirmative, Commander. I'll be in the hangar for pre-drop
So I now have a Locust pilot. And now all my battlemechs are fixed, so let's go back to the star map and find a job to do. And you can tell which systems have jobs to do based off of the little icons above the name. So Greenlee has an assassination contract and technically a black market. The little shopping cart icon that I'm trying to point at but can't really denotes a black market, which is basically a marketplace not as good as an industrial hub, but still better than just your average standard thing. And also, if I look at View Intel, you can see that the Outer Worlds Alliance has an assassination contract against the independent forces. Now, I'm trying to stay on the good side of the independents because Interstellar Exports, or Spears' company, is a subsidiary of the independents, so I piss off the generic independents, I'll be pissing off his company as well. So I'm not going to do that one. And then if I go back to DeBerry, I have House Davion has 2 different raid contracts, one against the Independents and the other one against the Outworlds Alliance. So, as I said, I have no intention of fighting the Independents, but the Outworlds Alliance, I would say, is fair game. If I go to Brooklane, the Independents have a contract, as does House Karita. But if you look at the targets, I'm fighting either House Davion or the Independents. So, since I highly doubt the Independents are hiring me to fight themselves, I'm guessing Kurita wants me to attack the Independents, and the Independents want me to fight House Davion. And I prefer not to fight House Davion or the Independents, so that one's arguably out as well. And then over in Sturgis, I have jobs against the Independent, well, jobs for 2 different jobs for the Independents and 1 for House Kurita, although it's a multiple mission operation. And the jobs are against either the Outworld Alliance or House Kurita. Again, I highly doubt House Kurita is hiring me to fight themselves. So I'm guessing they're fighting the Outworld Alliance. And the Independents are either fighting, well, one mission's against House Kurita, the other is against the Outworld Alliance. Because House Kurita is listed as an enemy faction, and again, House Kurita is not hiring me to fight themselves. I'm guessing the Independent, at least one of the Warzone contracts is against Kurita, if not both. Now, the multiple mission operation is special in that it's different missions combined together. So it could be a variety of different missions and a number of them, but you have to take them one after another, and you don't get time to fly off and repair your battlemechs. So I don't like taking multiple missions unless I have multiple lances with which to fight them. Although, depending upon who the Independents want me to fight, that is an option, because while I want to try to stay on the good side of House Davion and the Independents, as far as I'm concerned, the Drakus Combine, which is the official name for House Kuritan's territory, is fair game. Then there's, if I want to go all the way over here to Letexo, House Kurita is paying me to fight House Davion, so... And there's also Picton down here, where House Davion and House Kurita are hiring me out to fight either Independents or House Davion. And I'm guessing since House Davion is again not hiring me to fight themselves, they're targeting the Independents, and Kurita's either targeting Independents or House Davion, so I'm not interested in those either. And then there's also another war zone out here, or conflict zone I should call it, known as Inferno's Wake, but it's too far out, so I can't actually see what those missions are. Right, so the Berry is technically the original planet that I'm from, and the people that attacked the company and took out the father may or may not still be there, but the game doesn't really go into that, so I'm fairly certain it's safe to travel back there, at least initially. So let me jump back to DeBerry. Look, the contracts here. House Davion has, as I guessed, a raid against the Outworld Alliance. Another one targeting Independence, although the Independent one is during a hazardous conditions environment, so I actually would get a bonus to everything. So instead of it being 9 salvage shares, if I put 2 points in there, for here it would be 11. But again, it's against the Independents, and I don't really want to fight them right now. Alright, so those are the options that I have, but because the last mission and the mission before and all the time in between took quite a bit of while, I am not going to decide which mission I'm going to play right now, although it's probably not going to be the one against the Independents, and I do kind of need coins, so one of them is going to get played, if not both. I mean, while I don't want to piss off the Independents, and it does take a while to get back into their good graces, the occasional job against them shouldn't be too damage dealing. I think, I hope, kind of, sort of ish. But anyway, so my decision, much like the mission, will have to be saved until next time, because I'm going to have to call it here.
Everybody stay safe from the plague, and have a good day.